There is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of the NEPHILIM. The Genesis 6 narrative states that the Nephilim are on the earth in those days and also afterwards. If that's true, can we find evidence that corroborates this? I'm L.A. Marzulli. Join me as we go on the trail of the Nephilim. I think you'll find this interesting. It's just sort of a rebuttal against some of the articles on Archaeological Review who are basically skewering Graham Hancock. I don't necessarily agree with everything that Graham Hancock says, but I think he raises some valid points. And of course, some of these pundits are pushing back, so we will push back against them. You'll hear more about this, but first, a word from our trusted sponsor. Have you started to notice an increase in the appearance of wrinkles, fine lines, bags under your eyes, or other usual signs of aging? It may be more than just stress. Wrinkles and other marks of aging are one of the top signs that your collagen levels are low. It becomes more vital every year that you get older to supplement collagen into your diet for the sake of your skin's health. As you've gotten older, for example, you may have found that your skin isn't as strong. Whether you're in your 20s or 90s, you can experience the healthy aging effects collagen has on your skin with the help of this multi-collagen powder that I love to use. Folks, I've noticed a reduction in the appearance of wrinkles and fine lines. My skin has once again regained its youthful glow, hydration, and elasticity. Take a look at this mug, folks. Also, although I originally bought it to rejuvenate my skin, I was shocked to find that it also improved the health of my hair, nails, and joints as well. Folks, I want you to try it as well and experience the amazing effects that I've noticed in myself. Get a bag today for 51% off, plus receive several free bonuses before their spring sale ends by going to healthwithla.com. That's healthwithla.com, and get ready to look your best this new year 2023. Folks, 60-day money-back guarantee. 5 types of collagen you need from 4 different sources. For every order today, we will donate a nutritious meal to a hungry child in your honor through our partnership with NoKidHungry.org. I mean, you can't beat this stuff. It's non-GMO. It's free of artificial flavors, colors, preservatives, sweeteners, and gluten-free antibiotics. Folks, this stuff is great. Go to healthwithla.com. That's healthwithla.com. So this is from Archaeological Review. And this, of course, is a response to a straw man argument of pseudo-archaeology. So let me understand something. Let's just start there. Pseudo-archaeology. So unless I'm degreed and I'm part of the club, everything that I do in my research is immediately labeled pseudo-archaeology. So let's walk through it. Graham Hancock raises some very interesting points. Who built some of these structures? He goes to the island of Malta. I was there on the island of Malta, okay, where he shows us Gigantus. And it's these huge megalithic stones. And we see the megalithic period, it's there for a period of time, it shifts over to the mound builders, and then it all just disappears. People stop doing it. So let me ask you this, if it's so important to do this, why is it suddenly just disappear? Why are there 80,000 stones, standing stones at one time in Carnac, France? Why is it that we're still debating about what Stonehenge is? Why is it that there's connectivity between America's Stonehenge and all these other ancient sites? Why? So why don't these people talk about the fact that where does the 18.5-year lunar cycle come from? How do these people even know about it? I mean, I could go on here. So the bottom line, you know, they talk about the straw man argument. In other words, there's nothing there. We can just knock it down like a straw man of pseudo-archaeology. Here's my case in point. And when you look at this, and let me get into this in just a second. This is the baby skull, all right here. We've been talking about this. This is the baby skull. And you can see this we unwrapped a 2,000-year-old baby skull at Senior Juan's Paracas History Museum. Hats off to Brian Forrester. Without Brian, we never would have met Senior Juan and gotten down there. And Brian sort of helped us be able to unwrap this skull. Joe Taylor, who's now deceased, unfortunately, and very recently, unwrapped the skull with archaeologist Aaron Judkins. So that's, we've got an amateur anthropologist. He's not degreed, but he knows a whole lot about it. But we have a degreed archaeologist there. So we take hair samples as the hair samples are falling off the baby's skull, okay? Chase Klotsky, who was our field investigator in the sense, she was tagging and bagging all the samples. Those things went right into a plastic bag up to the labs. So we looked at this thing and we examined it, and we took the hair samples and we sent them to 3 different labs. I've already talked about this. And it came back U2E1. That's from Eastern Europe. That rewrites history. It has red hair. The orbits are 20 to 25% or even 30% larger than a normal human being. The foramen magnum, the brain hole, the brain stem, is pushed all the way to the posterior of the skull. It's like right there, So if it's any further back, it's outside the skull. So we've got in our film DNA, and let me just show you that real quick since I'm doing all this. I just happen to have it right here. So here it is. It's a deep dive on it. We've got doctors, surgeons, archaeologists, anthropologists, okay? A whole multidiscipline team of people stating on the record that what we are looking at here is a genetic anomaly. It's not human. And the DNA shows us that the origin comes from the Middle East. There's the foramen magnum all the way pushed to the occipital part of the skull. If it's any further back, it's outside the skull. So why is it that the academics won't even look at this? Why? Is this pseudo-archaeology or is it real science? As far as we know, we are the only team, I think Gaia sent the team down, who did extensive study on the elongated skulls, and we came up with a completely different paradigm than what the mainstream archaeologists. So let me ask you something. Is that pseudo-archaeology? When we're taking hair samples and DNA samples and sending them off to labs, is that pseudo-archaeology? I don't think so. And that's what they do. Instead of addressing the concerns or the examples that they disagree with, where is a real discussion? And quit calling him an amateur archaeologist or a pseudo-archaeologist. He's out in the field, bully for Graham. I'm out in the field, looking, checking. We're the only team that's ever done DNA analysis on the Paracas skulls. There was a guy at UCLA who allegedly did it, and when Mondo, who is an archaeologist, wrote him and said, well, what was your report? He went cold. He just didn't answer us. So did he do samples on the Paracas skulls? Mondo asked him specifically, how many Paracas skulls did you sample? Crickets. So we're on to something here. Our team, is this pseudo-archaeologist that we sit down with a chiropractor, surgeons, medical doctors, optometrists? Is that pseudo-archaeologist? I don't think so, but that's what they do. Oh, you're a racist if you think that Native Americans didn't build the mountains. See the way it works? Call you a name. Oh, you're a pseudo-archaeologist. You're a racist. You're whatever label that they want. Why don't we talk about the facts? What is red hair and double rows of teeth and 6 fingers doing in the Americas? Why is it that the Native American tribes talk about this? Why is it that if Native Americans don't know advanced geometry, how then did the Newark Circle Mound and the Great Octagon Mound in Newark, Ohio come to be? Do you see where I'm going with this? So it's like, why don't we have a discussion instead of calling us names like pseudo-archaeologists? I'm not an archaeologist, but I've been out in the field a whole lot. And I know some of the basic principles of archaeology. You could tear me apart and say, well, do you know about this? When did Clovis happen and Clovis only? The archaeologists, they're all concerned about, what was the first Clovis. And now some of them are realizing that maybe there's something here before Clovis. Well, folks, maybe people came over here from Phoenicia. Why? Because we have a stone in America, Stonehenge. Do I have that here? I don't think so. No matter. We have a stone called the Baal Stone in America, Stonehenge. Dedication, written in Iberian Punic, translated by the late Dr. Barry Fell. Tubal, the Canaanites, in dedication. Why don't we talk about that? See, instead of calling us pseudo-archaeologists, this stone was discovered under about 2 feet of soil. And it sat in the museum for 11 years. It's not a hoax. It's not a forgery. Let's deal with that. Let's deal with that. That all these dolmens all around New England and other places, they're not root cellars. Stop lying to us. What are you so afraid of? Just like when you go down to places in Peru, like Machu Picchu, and you hear the guide babbling on and on about how they cut this with a copper chisel. In our new film, which is coming out, On the Trail of the Nephilim, episode, 8. And it's out-of-place artifacts. We show what a copper chisel does on andesite. Well, how can an archaeologist dispute that? Why don't we talk about that? Why don't we sit down with an archaeologist? I'll challenge someone to come on the show and talk about that. How do you explain Machu Picchu, Ollantaytambo, Sacsayhuaman, and other sites when the Inca only allegedly have copper chisels? Something else is going on here. Other people realize that the Inca did not do it. The Inca were not the builders of Sacsayhuaman, Ollantaytambo, or Machu Picchu, and some of the other sites. They just weren't. They just weren't. So we're labeled pseudo-archaeologists. Why? Because we don't go along with the status quo, the speech which is accepted. We're challenging what's going on here. And by the way, folks, a lot of discoveries in science have been made by people just like myself. We're the only team with the DNA. Gaia may have sent someone down. They did that apparently. They posted it. But we made ours very readily available by going to lamarzulli.net or going to our streaming site, streaming.lamarzulli.net. There is a hidden history that has been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of the Nephilim. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, we are going to Israel, October 8th. Plenty of room there. You can check it out. We will be in Jupiter, Florida on the 19th, I believe, of April for a conference there. Go to our website. You can see the banner. We're excited by that. That's about it for right now. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow with a very interesting UFO update.